Welcome, sweet friends, to the channel Frugal Money Saver. My name is Emmy. My husband is Paul. We're so happy you have joined us today. Today, we are going to share a video about how to get started living an old-fashioned life. What do we need to do? How do we do it? And basically, the reason we're doing it is to save money and live a more full and joyful life. And if you are already living a slow, old-fashioned life, then we're hoping the tips and the hints we're sharing with you today will be encouraging and motivating to keep living this lifestyle. And we hope we're going to share some new ideas too for those of you who already are living that simple life. Let's just for a second take a look at what old-fashioned living means. And I looked it up, and to be correct, this is what it said. Living a lifestyle or type of life that is no longer common or current or modern. If that's what it is, then sign me up. I am all for it. And I think the thing that we need to remember is back in the day, people had no choice but to live the way they lived. Sometimes times were really hard, money was tight. And more today, that is what we are seeing in our society. And people are reverting back to that way of life. And what a wonderful way of life and living it is. So the first point we want to cover is to look and see how you can make your life smaller. Smaller? Yes, smaller. Less possessions. And we have talked about this. We are not minimalists at all. When it comes to buying non-essential purchases, we have slowed down tremendously, leaving a smaller footprint all the way around. Not having a huge grand wardrobe, but keeping your wardrobe manageable with things that you actually wear. I showed you last year what we did. We took all our shirts and pants and turned the hangers one way. When we wore that shirt or pant, we turned the hanger around to show that we had worn it. After several months, you have to see how many hangers were still facing the original way. We had never even worn those items. So before you make another clothes purchase or shoe purchase or knick-knack purchase, how many do you have? How many do you really need? Think smaller. Keep your meals simple. And when I say smaller, I think I also mean simpler. Those two go hand in hand. So a simple meal throughout the week. The only time they ate a grand meal was on Sunday. They did not eat that way during the week. They kept it simple. They kept it smaller. So we just want to incorporate that simpler, smaller theme within our lives on a day-to-day basis. The second point, to keep it simple, to keep it old-fashioned, I'm going to ask you a question. What are you drinking? I know that sounds funny, but seriously, what are you drinking? When you go to the food store, think about how many items you can purchase to drink. Back in the day, there was water, there was coffee, tea, and possibly milk. That was pretty much it. Today, the amount of money people are spending on beverages is staggering. We're talking sodas, caffeinated drinks, energy drinks, drinks that contain massive amounts of salt and sugar. Drinking was made to hydrate our body, and consumerism has taken over the idea of drinking. Millions and millions of dollars are spent a year on consumers buying man-made beverages. And when you think about that, it's cause for pause just for a minute. Look at the amount of money you're spending on drinks. Can you switch out some of those more expensive drinks for good old-fashioned water? And can that money go somewhere else? The next tip on how to live a simple, old-fashioned life. For the newbies and for those of us who have been doing it for a while, is finding joy in the everyday. My nieces were in from different parts of the country the other day, and we went to meet up with them. While we were driving to meet them, it was about an hour and a half away, I sat in the car. Paul was driving. I sat in the car and I really looked at my surroundings and how beautiful our state was. Now, I don't usually do that. I have to be honest. I'm usually on my phone when we drive, or I'm usually cranking the radio, singing along, just oblivious to everything. Our phones were silent. We just looked at the beauty of our state as we drove. Let us just share this little clip of the mountains of New York with you. It's so important to find the joy in the everyday, in the homemaking, even at your place of work. If you work outside the home, bring a little beauty in there with you if you're able and you can. Mommies who are home with their children, find the joy in the everyday. We're always so busy just moving forward that we lose track of what's going on around us sometimes. And back in the day, they worked slowly and they worked steadily. They got a ton done, but I really believe there was a joy in the everyday. The next question we're going to ask is, do you have some kind of homemaking routine or any kind of routine at all? Back in the day, they certainly did. And this saved them money because they were organized. Monday, let's say, was laundry day. Tuesday, maybe deep cleaning kitchen and bathrooms. Whatever it was, they had a homemaking schedule and they stuck to it. They did their errands on one certain day. They didn't get in the car and run to town every chance they had to go shopping or to pick up one item at a supermarket. No. Gas was expensive, as it is now, and it was not something to be used frivolously. And so many times I think we think of a routine as being mundane, but it doesn't have to be. It allows you to work efficiently and it allows you to get things done in a timely manner. Because you know that Tuesday is dusting day, let's say. So that is the day to dust. If you don't dust Tuesday, then you're going to dust Wednesday. And guess what? You already have what you need to do on Wednesday. So now you added something else to Wednesday. So try to set up a simple homemaking routine. Even if you work full-time outside the home, this can still be done. Maybe after work, maybe before work, on the weekends, but have some type of schedule that you adhere to. But I know back in the day, they were efficient and they adhered to a strict homemaking routine. They had to. There was so much to be done. We're so blessed now. We have so many ways to make our lives easier. When you are efficient in the homemaking area, your life is easier. You tend to save money. You know what you have. You know what you need to do. It's just an all-around win-win. The next suggestion we're going to give you is, please do not depend on technology for everything. Technology is a blessing. Technology enhances our lives so much. We can find out anything we need to at the touch of a finger, and that's the truth. But we have to be careful. We are not depending on it for everything. Do you balance your checkbook, or do you leave it to the bank and just look at your balance and say, okay, that's what it is? Even though I pay a lot of our bills online, I still use an old-fashioned check register book to log every payment I make and balance it in that book. And my balance better match up with the bank's balance, because so many times people make mistakes. Machines can make mistakes. We cannot be dependent on technology. By keeping track of your finances, and yes, check them online all the time. I'm not saying not to do that. But make sure you're doing your own finances on paper in a checkbook ledger as well, for money going in and out of accounts, because this way you can live below your means. Make sure you are aware of how much money you have, how much you can spend, and that written budget has to come into play as well. The next idea we're going to throw at you is practice patience. We live in a world where nobody has patience. We need to learn the exact opposite. We need to practice patience, not only for the good and well-being of mankind, but because it will save you money. Back in the day, they did not have the luxury of taking a credit card, tapping it on a machine, and buying whatever the heck they wanted. They did not have the luxury of typing in some numbers and purchasing anything they wanted and have it delivered the next day. They had patience. When they needed to buy something other than essentials, they would save for it. It was a special and big deal. They would wait to save up for anything that they needed to buy. We don't do that anymore. And you know what? When they got that item, they were able to pay that item. The majority did not live above their means because basically they couldn't. They really just couldn't. Today, society wants you to live above your means. They want you to live that fast-paced, charge it now, worry about it later lifestyle. And we, as old-fashioned, simple, frugal-minded people, don't buy into that. The next question we're going to ask, how much sleep do you get a night? What? Sleep? What does that have to do with an old-fashioned, frugal, simple life? Everything. Do you remember the old saying, early to bed, early to rise, makes a person healthy, wealthy, and wise? Well, there was some truth to that. We have become a sleep-deprived society. Why go to sleep? There's so many other fun things you could be doing, right? Scrolling on your phone, buying things, watching some mindless show on TV. It's proven the more sleep you get, the better we function. When you get a good, restful night's sleep, think of how much better you feel the next day. You are more productive. You are able to think clearer. You make better decisions. I know when I don't get sleep, I am cranky. I don't want to know anything. You just feel better when you get good sleep. By the time it got dark, they had put in a full day and they were ready to go to sleep. The next morning, as the sun was coming up, and most of the time even before that, they were up and ready to go. Don't use the nighttime to scroll on your phone and spend money. Turn those electronics off. Read a book. Relax. Do a puzzle. Just for a little while, so that when it is time to go to bed, you are relaxed and ready. We do not have to deprive ourselves of sleep because the rest of the world is going at a breakneck pace. No, slow down like our forefathers did and get a good night's sleep. The last encouragement and idea we want to leave you with is constantly look for a bargain. Our ancestors were great at bargain hunting. And if they couldn't find a bargain, well, you know they would reuse it, they would repurpose it, they would do without, they would make it work. And what we want to encourage you with today is keep your eyes out for those bargains, because they're still out there. But sometimes they may not be something you would traditionally use. And this happened to us the other day when we were in Dollar Tree. This is not an item we buy ever, really. But at the price it was being offered, We figured out some great ways to use this item, and it stretched our meal plan. What we used this item for was delicious, wonderful, practical. We're going to show you the items first we bought, and then we're going to get into the kitchen and create something absolutely delicious with them. We went into the Dollar Tree the other day. I had to pick up a greeting card, and they had their gold medal bakery white bread marked down to 25 cents a loaf. The expiration date was 8/29, so they were perfectly good. We bought 3 loaves. I used a couple pieces already for breadcrumbs. Always keep your eye out for a bargain. Even if you don't eat bread like this in a sandwich, which we wouldn't do. We have sourdough bread for that. It is great at 25 cents a loaf to make croutons or breadcrumbs. And this next delicious recipe. This is a great make-ahead breakfast recipe, using up some of that wonderful 25 cents a loaf bread we bought. This is going to be a breakfast strata. Here I have about 3/4 of a cup of cooked ham, about a 1/2 cup of frozen spinach, and I just defrosted it and squeezed all the water out. I've got about a cup of cheese. We're using pepper jack, but you can use any kind of cheese you want. 2 slices of bacon that I cooked till crispy, drained, and chopped up. 4 eggs, 1.5 cups of milk, a little bit of really good mustard, and I'm going to add some Italian seasoning, but add whatever kind of seasoning you would like. And then we have 8 slices of that bread that we cubed. That's all there is to it. So I have a 9-inch square pan here. I will link the original recipe down below. The original is for a 9x13. We halved the recipe. I am taking my butter wrappers that I store in the refrigerator. They make a great greasing tool. We're just gonna grease this pan liberally. And I am going to take my ham and my bacon. We're just gonna put that on the bottom. Now, of course, you could use a lot more meat, whatever you want to put in it, but we're keeping it kind of simple today. I'm going to set this aside for just a minute. I cracked all 4 eggs in this bowl, and I'm just giving them a good whisk. We're going to put our bread in the bowl. We're going to pour our eggs on top. Remember, the spatula is your friend. Get every last bit out. We're going to add the 1.5 cups of milk. We're going to add the cheese, and we're going to add the spinach. Let's mix this well. You can see that those bread cubes are going to absorb the milk and the eggs. I'm going to add about a 1/2 teaspoon of mustard for flavor. The original recipe calls for sauteed mushrooms in this, which I bet would be great. Paul's not a mushroom fan, so we're going to leave those out. Now I'm just adding a grinding of some Italian seasoning, but you can season this any way you want. Bring our pan back, and we're going to add this mixture right on top. There is no way you can lose with a breakfast like this. It is hearty, perfect for the upcoming colder weather. You know you're in the kitchen with Emmy right there, okay? Oh, messy kitchen is my motto, right? We're going to take a piece of aluminum foil, and we're going to cover this. We're going to put it in the refrigerator for at least 2 hours, but you can do it up to overnight. So we're going to pop this right in the refrigerator. It's the next morning. Let's see how this looks. You can see the bread absorbed all the liquid. We're going to keep it covered. Being that this is coming out of the refrigerator and this pan is very cold, I don't like to take an ice cold pan and put it in a hot oven. It's like a recipe for disaster. So I'm going to preheat my oven to 350, and I am going to put the pan in while it's preheating so that it comes up to temperature with the oven. It gently warms itself while the oven is preheating. And we're going to put it in for about 40 minutes, and then we'll check it and make sure the center comes out clean. Add something else to the oven, some baked potatoes, bake some brownies, make a cake, whatever it is. Don't waste that oven heat on just this. Be creative and think, what can you make for dinner now and put in the refrigerator for later. We let this cook for 40 minutes, then I took the foil off and I put it back in the oven for just about 5 minutes to crisp up some of the top of the bread. Now let's see how it looks. That looks nice and clean. This looks like it's ready. We're gonna let it set and cool just a few minutes for it to set up. As you can see, that turned out so yummy, so easy. What I would even do with that is use it for a light dinner, prepare it in the morning, make a big green salad, and then in the evening, pop it in the oven, and oh, how delicious it would be. It was great for breakfast, but don't discount it as a dinner as well. It was really very, very good. And we got to use up some of that bread we spent 25 cents a loaf on. Today's question of the day: would you be so kind as to share your nighttime routine with us down below? What do you do? Okay, dinner's over, dishes are washed, you're ready to relax. What do you do? Do you put the TV on right away? Do you get on your phone? Do you read, crochet, knit? Do you go for a walk? What do you do for your nighttime routine? I think it's going to be really encouraging for us to get ideas from you all and from each other on things to do other than just look at our phone or stare at the TV at night. This way we can all live that good, frugal, old-fashioned life together. We thank you so much for sharing this time with us. We hope this video was encouraging, motivating, and helpful in the best of ways. We ask that you please give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. And another point we just want to ask you is please check and make sure you are still subscribed to our channel. We have gotten emails saying, I've been looking for you, where are you? They check our channel and they have been unsubscribed. We don't do it, but again, technology does things that we are unaware of. And also make sure you have that notification bell turned on to all. So every time we make a video, you get an alert. We thank you so much again for being here. We ask you to be well. We ask you to be safe. And above all, we wish you blessings. Until our next video, may God greatly bless you.